Well, ladies and gents, it's been about a week and a bit, and I'm finally on vacation. Holy Snickers, I never thought I would make it for the day. Friday was the worst. Well, not the worst. I had better Fridays. Uh, I'll say this one there because of the morning crew, which we have a new hire since week before last. She started 3 weeks ago. Anne Marie, which is one of the other senior techs on our group, started to train her, and then she had to go on vacation for 2 weeks. So now she should be back in theory, continuing on with the training. Meanwhile, I was helping the new trainee out, answering any and all questions, and giving her tips and tricks of getting things done, and any possible phone numbers that we tend to use quite a bit for work related stuff, like to speak with certain groups that we need to get attention from for certain things and all that. Uh, where to reach out to them. Why do we have certain numbers beforehand when dialing out? So, things like that. Typical stuff. Typical office stuff. So I did give her some stuff to work with, at least have in her arsenal, so when she's ready to hit the phones, she can actually do it on the phones without having any problems with that. So that's a good sign, and I'm hoping that will go well. And I'll speak with Anne next week to see what's going on, how the new hire is doing. But it's like, man, 2 weeks taking somebody else underneath your arm and being able to work with them to help them out, and be able to learn the tricks of their trade. I'm just thankful that I'm on vacation. I'm not even thinking about work. I don't care about work. The only thing I actually cared about was on Saturday. I noticed that we had for agents that are on the phones, we have courses to take either after hours or during the day, depending on how busy it is. Now, usually, if it's something that deals with training and all that, I rather either do it before work starts, before I'm on the phones, or doing emails and phone support. I usually will do it either in the mornings or after my shift is done. So, one of them happened to be that I had tried to redo my password for. It was a password. It's. We have several different types of passwords. One is for our masters. The other one is for other services, and then we have a couple of other ones which are basically strictly for the company that we're supporting. So we got ones for those. So my services one actually had gone on the wayside, and I thought I had actually entered it in properly and got it fixed. And sure enough, it kind of went in, but I couldn't for the life of me remember what it was. And I thought I had typed it into a scratch pad that I have, that I usually use on a daily basis, that I tend to scope in and out of. And I couldn't find it. For the life, you know how it is when you feel like a fool, and you can't remember the password that you changed it to. It's like, where the heck am I going with this? And yeah, so finally I said, okay, enough is enough. I had 3 more days before I can actually change it. Otherwise, it was going to go into limbo. In other words, it's going to lock itself. So I called Saturday. So while I was on the phone waiting for IT support, which is our own IT support that has access to Active Directory for our main accounts and also our services account. So I told them to take a look under the services account. That's the one that's the main one I was having problems with. And I told them, I let them know. I said, look, I changed it not too long ago, and I said, look, for the life of me can't remember what I put down. And I said, I said, just to confirm, can you reset me a new temporary password to log in with, so I can actually change it? And I said, yeah, no problem. And she says, you're right. It's only been like last week that you called in. I said, yeah. I said, I know what I'm talking about. Last week I called it in. And he says, no problems. We'll get it sent to you. And I also confirmed with him because as technology gets better over the years, at one point it used to be for passwords themselves. You have your login credential, like your login name, and then you have your password. Now, usually in the old days, passwords were a maximum of 8 characters. It had to include a uppercase, lowercase, a special character, and a number. Now, special characters could mean anything. It could be like the $, exclamation point, a tilde character, any one of the 250, any one of the other 200 characters that are in the ASCII table. Great. So, so I'd done that, but I think I had left it at either 14 or 15. Now, I remember speaking with another tech when my computer was actually, when I had to send my old computer in because it was already, 1, out of date, 2, well, it was too old. It was already like 5 years old. 2, it was end of life, end of lease. So EOL, end of lease, or end of life, whichever one you prefer. So that means I was going to get a new one. Great, better. At least it was better than the one that I had originally, which only had 8 gigs of RAM. This one had 16, and it had the same amount of processing power and about the same gigabytes of hard drive space. So the only thing that improved was the RAM size, which is 16 gigs, not 8. Myself personally, I would rather go with 16 or 30. Not 16. I would have liked to have gone to 32. Like on my M710Q from the Lenovo here. I have it with 32 gigs of RAM. That's the maximum it can actually run, and it runs perfectly great. And I have not used more than between 8 and 10 gigs of RAM, and it depends on what I'm doing. So I may have a couple of spreadsheets open, a Word document, a web browser, and that's basically about it. So it's nothing too heavy. But when I was using other ones, like like my laptop for work, I was easy going up to 20-25 gigs of RAM, because I was opening multiple tabs in a couple of browsers like Edge. I would have about 6 or 7 in my, Google Chrome. I would have another 5 or 6 open there. On my home one, on any one of the 3 that I would be using, whether it's Edge, Chrome, or Firefox, no more than 2 or 3 at a time. I didn't need 16 tabs open at any given time, because I wasn't doing that many searches, or I didn't need that many searches. So that was an okay thing for me. But yet, at least now it's working. So today, actually yesterday, was it yesterday or Saturday? I was speaking with my friend on Saturday. One of my other friends, it was actually my friend April. I love her to death, love her to bits. She was a dear friend. She's a dear friend of mine from my college years. We happened to take an introduction to English in English class for better writing in English, which I write as I speak, so to speak, which is kind of odd. My the way my thought processes are, and my writing and my talking are completely different. So I just found out my friend's mother had passed away last night. I think because she was too ill. and I had given her my condolences yesterday. So that way she has a wide variety of friends to be there with her in case she needs any friends out there. And for stuff like that, especially when it comes to friends and family and their relatives that pass away, I truly respect their privacy. I'll chat with them. If they feel like chatting, no problems. Let's chat. Just so they can air out their little grievances if there was any, or just they just need to air out some stuff that they just wanted to get off their shoulders because it's a hard thing to do. And that's one thing one of my friends is doing. Excuse me while I turn off, kind of turn off my what you call it, my uh, not Tubi. It's actually my Roku. It's acting up that you're hearing the sound effects in the backside. So, and nice as it may be for watching free stuff, depending on what you have, it does the job. And yeah, so I let her know that my friend April that I sent my condolences from our family to theirs, and that we're there for them. They need a good talking, whatever. Same thing for their kids and all that, just so they are aware of friends of friends and family are there for her. I did meet up with April's parents, her mother and father. So I do remember them fondly way back in the day. That was over 30 years ago, and they were very nice people. So today I was mainly doing some odds and ends for around the house. Tomorrow's going to be a big day, which I'm actually going to be doing some what you call it. I'm going to be working outside. We have an apple, pear, and a prune tree outside. So I didn't have a chance to take a look for the chemicals for them to spray them in the proper seasons. And now we have a whole bunch of apples on the floor, up on the grass, and I'm gonna have to be doing a lot of what you call it. I'll be doing a lot of raking tomorrow, at least piling them up, and then eventually get them into the composting bin because it's going to be filled to the rim at least once or twice. I haven't counted really, but it looks like quite a bit that's there on the floor. But I do luckily have some bins where I can actually fill both of them up and then just dump both of them into the other larger bin, so that way it gets dumped into the canister, because composting is every week for us on our side, for our street. So that way composting gets done at least every week. Once that is done, then we're fine. Usually I do that 2, maybe 3 times a year before Christmas, and then everything is cleared. So the day is young. I'm just sitting down, relaxing, watching some YouTube, working on this as well. And I hope everybody liked the picture of the niece. Sorry for this cough too. It's been also the weather outside, because of the heat and humidity and the fogginess, or the cleanliness of the air. Also works harder for people who are smokers and all that. So we tend to cough more often than not. So I'll be back soon enough, hopefully with another extension today, and work up on some extra vlogs for you guys over here, because I know for sure I like to post these things out as much as possible, at least once a week, just because it's for the fact I may have something to say or not to say, or just Babylonian style type of thing. And yes, I'll be eventually, when Denise will be with me here, I'll be introducing you guys and gals to Denise. She's very beautiful. She's a twin, so she also has a sister by the name of Kim that looks exactly like her. She's a little bit more on the chubby side, which is okay for me. A couple of pounds extra, I'm not gonna. It's not the end of the world, so to speak. You know, it's a couple of pounds, not a big deal. But the twins there, it's something special because they're very close to each other. So I'll eventually, when we are together, her and I, and maybe you'll see both Denise, which is my girlfriend, and maybe Kim, her sister, her twin sister. You'll get to be able to see them both, and who knows? They might just have a nice um, little webinars, whatever they want to do. So that'll be probably fun for them as well. So let me come back to you a little bit and see what's happening, okay? See you guys soon. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's the middle of the week. It is actually Wednesday. I don't know who has this thing there for running the time so quickly. It's going so by. Jesus, the days pass so quickly for vacation time. Oh, holy snickerdoodles. But one thing I'll say, I do enjoy my vacation time off. I'm not taking calls, not being on the front line all the time. And I'm doing certain things that I want to get done. Some of them are a little annoying because they're for my mom. They had to get done. It's typical stuff like for the back of the house, get the lawn cleared up and all that. So typical stuff like that has to get done. So I'm trying to get it done as best as I can and as much as I can. And you know how parents are. They say, well, they wanted it done yesterday, and it's like you can't because you didn't know about it yesterday. And, you get all these excuses. Anyhow, so I was actually out there earlier today. There was some weed whacking that needed to get done. Of course, I didn't do it because the grass is already too short. There's not enough grass in the backyard. But still, there was a lot of where the pool used to be located in the backyard. Because there's a lot of sand in the center there, so stuff doesn't grow too well. And anyhow, but around that area, the area of that pool where the pool used to be framed up, a lot of grass has gone wild. So I ended up coming with my weed whacker to try to trim it down as best as I can because it was just too high. And I know for the fact the electric lawnmower that my father had bought for us to use for the backyard wouldn't stack up too well against a high grass like that. And the only thing I don't like about it is that it's corded, and I do not like cords. On certain things, I don't mind having a cord on it because I understand, you need power, like circular saws. If you're close, to the, outlet, no problems. I won't argue. But when you're way over 100 feet away with an electric lawnmower, it makes it that life more, how can I say, not intolerable, but frustrating a little bit. That's why I would rather go in with something that I have, like what I use for weed whacking. I have like a weed whacker from Ryobi. It's one of the brush models. Now, don't ask me which one because I don't remember offhand which one I bought. But it's a good weed whacker. So I bought that, and it goes through like there was no. It goes through the weeds like there was no tomorrow. Same thing with some. What's the word I'm looking for? There are also some things that needed to be cut down, and those were very easily to get done. They weren't the big thing. I thought they were like half-inch sticks of wood or a small tree. It wasn't that. It was just a plant that a weed whacker wouldn't be able to cut through it. So I had to bring my Sawzall out and then cut it as best as I can, clean it off as best as I can. One thing I'll say about having these type of tools around the house, they come in very handy. Especially the Sawzall, because the Sawzall, just in case anybody wants to know what a Sawzall is, it's a nickname for a reciprocating saw. It is used for demolition purposes, like when you're tearing down a structure. as an example, like a interior wall of a house, as an example, so that way everybody knows what it is. It's a reciprocating saw, and it's been commonly known throughout the different brands, whether you're using DeWalt, Milwaukee, Hitachi, even the higher, more expensive types of tools that's meant for woodworking tools and all that. The reciprocating saw is usually called a sawzall, which is a generic term meaning a reciprocating saw. It doesn't have to be specific to one brand. It's just a generic overall naming scheme for it. It's like a difference between a regular impact drill or a impact wrench. An impact drill does one thing. It helps you screw in what's the word? Not drill holes, but it does that. Besides the point, but it helps you screw in screws. So that's one thing that's good for. Same thing with the impact wrench. They have 1 3/8. They have 1.5 inch for the typical home auto garage. And as you get into the larger larger trucks and all that, where the nuts and bolts are way bigger, like on the Trex Titan, one of those open quarry type of trucks, they have really huge impacting wrenches for those son of a guns, and a lot of nuts and bolts. So with that being said, I'm not going to go into deeper training 101 on different tools for woodworking and all that, but I had to get that done. So I went out and got it done, just because it needed to get done, because I promised my mom I would do it on my vacation time, and I didn't want to hear her say, well, you should have done it, you should have done it. And I also had seen the amount of apples that had fallen from the tree, because we have 2 or 3 fruit trees. So we have, I think, 2 apple trees, 1 prune tree, and 1 pear tree. And there's a lot of apples to pick up. Holy snickerdoodles. I might start that tomorrow if it's not raining, and get them into piles, so that way I can actually start putting that into the composting bag, or the composting container. And usually with that there, depending on how much there is on the floor, I can easily fill up 1 composting container very easily. At least 1, if there's a lot. If it's not that much, I would say maybe 1/4 to 1/2 a container of a composting container that will get filled up easily. And I even joked with my next door neighbor. I said, I got a lot of apples and all that there, and he says, have you eaten them? I said, well, no. I said, first of all, we didn't bother treating them over the year, because I didn't know what chemicals to actually spray onto them, and that's what you need to do throughout the years to get those specific chemicals out and get it sprayed. But I didn't have that. But they would have been great, and I would have had a nice batch of different types of apples, prunes, and also pears. So that's the other thing that would have gotten done as well. But silly goose, I didn't do it. I should have done it and gotten done properly. Then once this week is done, I can go back to work next week. My mother even asked me, it's because it's Labor Day, because I've chosen the last week of August because it's my birthday tomorrow. So I head back to work on Monday, and my mother said, well, are you staying home on Monday? I said, no, not really. I said, we need all hands on deck, and in case somebody has to go to the hospital or is going on vacation, they need that one extra manpower. So come Monday, I'm actually going back to work remotely. So it'll be nice to go back to. Also, I did fix up I don't know if I mentioned it in the previous one. I think I may have. I did fix that problem that I had with one of my accounts that was about ready to lock on its own, because I had not had a chance to change the password, or it did change and it just was not working right. So I got that working on Saturday, and I actually logged into one of the other accounts that requires my services login credentials. So I know it's working for Monday. So come Monday, I should not have a problem. If there is, then it's just work as they come, you know. So this is part 2 of whatever a part of it is for this week. I might still do some more recordings tomorrow, which is Thursday, and on Friday. So that way, at least we have something for my vacation time. Oh, the fun's being on vacation, the staycations. You know, instead of burning through money going on nice little trips, staycations are nice. You can work on nice smaller projects as well. So, what can you do? And I've been meaning. Where is it? Oh, it's over there. It's over there. I don't know. It's somewhere here. I'm going to be working on that knife there. I want to work on it tomorrow if it's raining. So at least get that cleaned up. I'll try to come back a little bit later on and show it. To show you the type of wear that's on the blade. And I have a couple of blanks as well, which I can actually kind of copy from this one over to that one, onto the blanks, just to get a couple, just to get some, I guess you can say machine shop, or being a tool and die maker or a machinist, and just to be able to work with tools. It's nothing fancy. I did want to have a nice knife when I was doing it in high school. That was one of the other projects that we were given for going through high school, was to actually make a nice knife, but not one to bring with you. It's one that you would be displaying up on a mantle and all that. So that's what I want to do with this one as well, is have something similar like that, but for the mantle, or put it under glass, you know. So I'll see what I come up with. I might choose one or two of the things, and we'll take a look at it from there. There was also one other one I wanted to do, which was to replicate, not the exact way of a samurai sword, but you know, just to be able to work with the material, you know, to be able to form the material the way it looks like. Because I know with the material that the words I'm thinking is swordsmiths, the way they deal with creating such beautiful swords, whether they're a samurai sword or a sword for a knight, especially around where the tang is located, where the bottom part of the handle, it looks so gorgeous on them, and the design on some of them as well looks fantastic. Just to give you as an example, like I went on to Amazon. Okay, Amazon is fairly worldwide, so I went on to the Canadian site of Amazon, Canadian side of Amazon, where they have Canadian prices, and I found 2 electric lighters, like for cigarettes. I'm just going to show you one side of it here. The other one is just slightly tarnished on the back side. That's due because of my fingers and all that. But just to give you an idea. Of what it looks like. Now that's the front side of it. And this is what the back side looks like as well. And they really look nice. This here, I have a feeling they're laser etched into the material, which means they may have used a laser to etch it in, or they may have used a very fine scribing tool, and you know, that's what they may have done for these two. But at any rate, I'm trying to replicate another knife, not for not for not to harm anybody with it, but just to get working on some other projects, some minor projects as well, with woodworking and dealing with steel and all that, because I used to learn to be a machinist. My father was a tool and die maker, so learning parts of his trade there was a big thing too as well. I do understand when learning as to be a machinist or a tool and die maker, that is very precise in some of the things, like especially working with the lathes, milling machines. They're good up to a couple of thou when working, when dealing with cuts and all that. And when you include a computer, which is basically an anonymous robot to do all the work, all the manual work on a lathe or on a milling machine, they can always keep precision at a great deal. Like it could be up to 4 or 5 or sometimes 8 digits, depending on how complex the quality is that they need for these parts and all that. I used to work at Pratt and Whitney in their help desk for the crew on the floor. So they actually had an open house, which I brought my father into, like to see the plant going from stem to stern and see the R&D that was available that we could actually see as well. And my father says, "Well, this is all automated." Why? I said, "Well, that's the way it is. These things are precision motors. You're not going to be able to recreate human-wise the exact same motor each and every time. This is where automation does come into play, where you can actually do it precisely, and it's within X, Y, and Z tolerances. Like they can be replicated 1,000 times. Now, if you just need 1 or 2, it's not so bad. Okay, yeah, you can use a man to get it done. But if you're building 1,000 of those things, it's better off to have a computer do it, because it eliminates a lot of the guesswork. And if you already had done it properly the first time, on the first 2 or 3, that you can say, hey, there's no errors on it, and then you can make 1,000 very quickly with it. So anyhow, so I'm going to let you guys go for the time being. I'll try to come in again for the next 2 or 3 days, and then compile this here out for Saturday if I can. Okay, so I'll be back. Well, at least now it's Friday. Thank God for that. You know what? I like going on vacation to spend time away from being on the phones all the time, but I'm also glad going back to work. I'm basically the eldest son of 2 children here. My brother's working in Toronto. He has already a family, and he already has his family and a daughter, which I love dearly, seeing them every year during Christmas time. And the thing is, I know my brother has been helping out his wife with their mother-in-law and with his mother-in-law over in Toronto. So he kind of has an idea of what I'm going through over here. But more likely, because even though the mother-in-law was not staying with them, I'm here with my mom, staying in the same building for God knows how long. And I'm doing most of the running around, not to bitch and complain. I don't mind it. I know it needs to get done. My mother can't go out as often as she would like to because of her knees and all that, because of her joints, and she's elderly. So I end up doing most of the work. Now, having the word chump almost written on my forehead, it gets to you a little bit, But it's either, you gotta take the punches. But anyhow, I'm glad that I'll be taking calls next week, starting on Monday, Labor Day Monday. Yes, it's a weekend for everybody else. By being in IT, there is no such thing as a long holiday for anybody here. So I got to be on the phones Monday. So that being said, I got to start work on Monday. And thank God my laptop is working. It's been up to date, and I got that password figured out that I was just losing control over, that I couldn't get it reset until Saturday of last week when I was actually on vacation. So got that done. Hopefully, when I get back on to work Monday, everything should be smooth going in. I haven't heard anything major from one of my colleagues that I work with on a daily basis, so that's a good thing. So I'll find out as soon as I get in on Monday to see how bad it was last week when I wasn't there. So right now the weather is still warm and hot and humid outside. It is warming up a little bit to about 23, 24 degrees outside. I have a small fan here that I'm using in the basement to keep myself cool and all that, and I have two other ones in the other room as well to keep the temperatures low. I just got back from getting some grocery shopping done, and I was also down at Canada Billiards. If you're not aware of those, it's a manufacturing company in Laval. They deal with making pool tables, both snooker and billiards, like the regular 8-ball or 9-ball, the official tables. And I was noticing that I do have a set of pool cues here that I had actually bought. They were through either Walmart or Canadian Tire. I don't remember which one. It was through one of those anyhow. But I wanted to get some nice gloves. It's to help you guide the cue stick in your fingers. Since I'm right-handed when shooting with pool, and I use my left arm to actually stroke the stick, like to move the stick in position. I went and picked one up. Picked that up particularly. Now I'm looking on either online or back at Canadian Billiards for another pool cue to replace the current one that I have, because I have one that is slightly, how can I put it, slightly warped, as the word comes to mind. Because when you roll it on the table itself, to see how round it is, like to make sure it doesn't bounce up and down, where you usually hit the cue ball and the object ball through the cue ball, there's a slight bend into it. So that there I can either shave some off, but it's just a matter of finding where the most arch there is, and then use a file, or get a new pool cue. I probably might likely get a newer pool cue, because whatever you take off, you can't put back onto these cues there anyhow. And these ones are fiberglass or carbon fiber with some wood in the tip and all that. So I'll be going through that soon enough with that one. But overall, the vacation time somehow always goes too quickly. As much as you want to get certain things done, what you want to do, other things take over naturally, and you can't do what you want to do. It's part of life. It's part of being what it is. It is what it is, as they say. As much as we all like to do a whole bunch of things, and having a stay vacation close by, yeah, there's some good things and bad things with it. But the most bad thing is when you get the higher ups telling you what you need to get done, and not giving you a chance of what you want to get done on your vacation time. So what can you do? So I know I have this in 3 parts here. So I'm going to wrap this here up for a Friday, and I'm going to ship it right out to you guys for a fairly long one. And I hope you like Denise's picture. Denise is a beautiful young twin lady that I know. Her sister is also named Kim. So there's Denise that I'm actually in love with, who wants to be with me, and Kim is her twin sister. They both have red hair, red hair, which I love. I love any girl with, if they're a natural brunette, blonde, redhead, and it's natural color, not like dyed in. I like that on a woman. They look beautiful with their natural hair. It's just when they start it's just when they start dyeing it all these different colors of the spectrum. So it's like, oh, you know, it's like you kind of get like, oh my god, what did she do? Type of thing. But that's how people are. So they want to do what they want to do with their hair. Who are we to judge? Anyhow, you guys have a great weekend. I'm calling this short. I'll see you guys next weekend. Have a great weekend. Have a great Labor Day weekend. I'll catch you the week after. Bye.